My name is Shelby Dodson, and I'm an attorney in Legal Aid's Gallatin office. Our office helps hundreds of people each year in our 5-county service area. And that's just our office. Legal Aid has 8 offices that cover 48 counties and hundreds of thousands of low-income and vulnerable people. This year has been full of so much uncertainty for all of us. Since March, we've got so many calls. What happened to my stimulus check? Can my landlord evict me? Am I going to lose my health coverage in the middle of a pandemic? And honestly, this year, the answer to so many of those questions has been, I don't know. But Legal Aid pays me to figure it out. It is such a privilege to get to be helpful in this terrible time, and that's thanks to you and your support. Our clients are really diverse. 41% have disabilities. More than a quarter live in a rural area. 25% are victims of domestic violence. 11% are homeless, and 10% are active military or veterans. Those are the numbers, but our clients are people, neighbors, like my client Kalia and her mom Jennifer.
So Kalia is my 6-year-old daughter. She has a history of the seizures with LGS, Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. With that, we've been battling that since she's been about 11 months old. And with that, it causes her to have a global development delays. So she's not able to walk, sit, stand, or crawl, or anything independently. Has caused issues with her hips and her spine. We're trying to get approved for the Dreama mattress. So it has the different wedges and the positioners where you can put her in a position to kind of keep her in a steady position. I feel the consequences with not having the mattress would be the fact that, her spine could eventually get worse and the hips could come out of the socket. Officially got the approval for it. Then they turned around and denied it. Everything kept on getting pushed back because of COVID, which took over a year. And then that's where I decided, I'm like, look, there's got to be a lawyer out there somewhere. And then, of course, most lawyers don't specialize in TennCare Medicaid cases. And that's when I thought of, well, what about legal aid? Worked with Shelby, and eventually, before we even had to go to court, they decided to look into it a little bit further and realize that, hey, maybe she does need this, and then they approved it. Potentially, we do need surgery now, and I feel if we would have had the bed sooner, it could have potentially avoided the surgery, because we went from 25% abducted to fully out of socket now in less than a year. So if legal aid hadn't been in the picture, I'd be still fighting with them continuously, I'm sure, still getting denied and appealing again until I got what I needed for my daughter. It's frustrating because it's like, your child, what your child needs, and then you're having somebody that doesn't even know your child try to live the life to understand it. Well, you're not here every day. Every day is different. One day she might be asleep all day and she might not need that care, but the next day you're suctioning her every 5 minutes. It's just, every day is different, and I know what my child deserves to have a good quality of life.
At Legal Aid, we provide holistic legal services that shatter barriers to success that clients encounter. When a client comes to Legal Aid with a legal issue, they normally come in crisis with one legal issue at the forefront of their minds. We handle that issue with compassion, but we also look for other legal problems that might be festering in the background. Hopefully, this helps us address root causes of the legal problems that clients come to us with. We aim to offer more than just a Band-Aid. Marcia is yet another example of a client that came to us with a single legal issue. After holistic legal triage, we realized the issue was just the tip of the iceberg.
My husband and I split up about 6 weeks ago, and he closed the bank account and left me with no money, no groceries, no money for an attorney, that I refused to sign for a house because we're already enough in debt. He just gave me an ultimatum, and I didn't know what he was going to do. I don't trust him anymore. I'm scared of him. I told him that I was done. He said, "What do you mean you're done?" And I said, "I want a divorce." The next morning, and my granddaughter and daughter told me that he was gone, and he showed up about 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and he pulled our daughter's hair out of her head, threatened to beat her with a tire iron, and then he threatened that he would put her in a state institute where she'd never see me or her brothers or her niece again. Me and these girls walked almost all the way to town, and I filed for the protection order. It was part of the protection order that he wasn't supposed to make any third-party contact. He contacted Carol and asked if they could go through my shed over there, my personal stuff. with his state of mind, I didn't know how many times he would threaten me or do anything to me, so I had to call the police because I wanted to make sure it was on the record. Carol, he got mad. Well, she put on the eviction notice. I'm evicting you because too much drama calling the sheriff out here. Well, it was part of the protection order that if he broke it, that I call the police and tell him. Made me feel like I was worthless. Right now, that's the way I feel, is pretty worthless. But Kirsta from Legal Aid, she took me to the store and bought us groceries. She let me get some popcorn and some ice cream for the girls. I've had Nikki, been raising her since she was a year and a half old because her adopted mother refused to take her. And her boyfriend had molested Nikki when she was 2.5 years old. So Nikki has not had a good life, and I felt like God put her in my life because I was molested when I was a little girl. But Legal Aid has helped me get the guardianship papers for her. They've helped me protect Zoe. They've helped me file for divorce. They helped me get food. I only wish them well. If I ever dig any money, I would sure donate to them because they've been awful good to me. They help try to build you up mentally and push you on, you know, when you're down and no place to go.
As jobs and income have been lost at staggering and unprecedented rates, the rent has been harder than ever to pay, and huge numbers of our neighbors have faced or been at risk for eviction. It's always scary to not know whether you and your family will have a roof over your heads next week, but in a pandemic, it's even scarier. How can you shelter in place if you don't have a place to shelter? Whether we're negotiating with an uncooperative landlord on a client's behalf or walking with a client through the red tape of bureaucracy, when you support Legal Aid, you ensure that we can be there in those stressful moments with those clients. It's because of your help that your neighbors have access to legal representation and can get the help and protection they're entitled to under the law. If you take action today and help support our work, we will keep taking action to protect and improve the lives of our neighbors living in poverty.